Today we have set up camp in the pantry, and I'm feeling a little bit under the weather today, so we're going to be playing a deck based on feeling under the weather, and that is the COVID-19 deck. I believe, at least from what I read, that it came from a bat. So we have a couple of bat cards, we have the virus itself, we have a few cards wearing masks, as one would during that time, and then we have two cards that have a range of more than 6 tiles to kind of represent the social distancing, how we had to stay more than 6 feet apart. So we're going to be trying out the COVID deck, seeing if it's any good. And it's really interesting to look back on that time and see how it affected everyone in a different way. Because for some people, it was completely life-changing, completely turned their life upside down. You know, they couldn't work, couldn't go to school, and their whole routine and everything just completely changed. And then for other people, it didn't really have much of an effect. And I was kind of one of those people that actually really enjoyed that time period, because I was homeschooled for most of my life. I did go to public school when I was a really young age, and I went back for a semester during high school, to public school, and I didn't really enjoy it all that much. But I mean, I was homeschooled for most of my life, so it wasn't a huge change for me, because I was kind of used to staying at home, learning from there, and I was too young at that point to have a job. So I quite enjoyed it. I also I wasn't a very social person. I kind of stayed at home most of the time anyway. So, you know, I ended up really enjoying it, and you know, it got me thinking a little bit, because I had been homeschooled for my whole life. It kind of got me thinking a little bit it just got me thinking about public school and what I kind of learned during my time there, and just thinking about some of the things I learned, some of the courses I was taking. And it made me realize that we shouldn't just rely on that for our source of learning, because while they do teach you some important things there's a lot of real life applications that aren't taught there, like money management and, you know, other things that, you know, like how do you save up money to buy a house, you know, things that are important in that regard that just aren't taught there. And I think while it is important to learn kind of the fundamentals, like of math and English and reading and that sort of thing, I think I've only really used that to a certain extent. Like, in math, I've used the very basics to, like, calculate the perimeter or the area of a certain object to see, you know, the amount of materials that we need and that sort of thing. But as far as the really complex equations, I think that would be used if you were, you know, going to go into engineering or that sort of thing. But I don't really know where I'm going with all this, but I guess it's important to not just rely on schooling and classes as your sole source of learning. How it's important to read, to seek knowledge outside of that, because a lot of the things that they teach you at school are just they're very specific for a certain thing. Like, all the math and all the equations are very specific for if you're going to be having a degree, or if you're going to be going into that sort of thing. And a lot of the things they don't teach you are the things that you're going to need to learn later in life, like how and when to borrow money, and how to just be financially responsible, and how to have a healthy relationship with your family and that sort of thing. So that was one of the things I was thinking about, how it's important to seek knowledge outside of that. And I don't really have a good golem answer or any way to kill the furnace that's behind it, so we are probably going to lose our tower here, which is not what you want to see. But let's wait till after that fire spirit spawns, and then maybe we can try to clean up with bats, except that that's just not going to happen. Well, that was a fun game. Anyway, that's something to think about as you go about your day. Make sure to pursue what you like, pursue what you're interested in, read a book, watch a video on YouTube about things that you're actually going to be using in the real world, and that way your learning will be more balanced. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.